Hello nature journalists. I hope you enjoy this recording of one of my live nature journaling workshops. These take place every month and you can find the links to the live workshops and extra recordings below. Please remember to subscribe, like and comment on the video, and without further ado, here we go. Okay, welcome everyone to Creative Nature Journaling in November. We are going to look this time at nature journaling spiders, our lovely 8-legged friends. We're not going to look, I'm not going to bring up a huge spider on screen straight away. Okay, so we're going to look first of all at some colors, some webs, and then we're going to start to make friends with some spiders. So I'm going to gently lead you into it. So don't panic. Now, spiders are great. So there is an awful lot to learn. And so, like always, if you think about starting off your nature journal page, then you can start off with putting in a little bit of metadata. So that can be things like your date, your location, and anything else that you think is relevant to put onto your page, such as weather or anything else that you want to add. So I'm just going to start off with 10th to the 11th, 25. So I know when we were here. So yeah, if you want to put in more metadata, that's fine. I'm just going to jump into this first exercise because this is fun. Spider colors. What color are spiders? I should have asked you before I put that on screen, shouldn't I? If you think about spiders, did you think of all those colors that you got on the screen? No, possibly not. So what I'm going to suggest is we start off by making ourselves a web on our page, and we're going to put bits of color into the web. If you have a big enough bit of paper, you might want to leave yourself some space along the outside where you can also draw the spiders later. If you're working on small paper, you might want to do the colors and the drawings separately. I'll leave it up to you which you want to do. So I am going to start off with just dividing up my page. If you have paper that you can fold, you might want to just fold it into half, one way, the other way, and then along the corners we're going to divide it into 8 sections. I'm using quite thick paper so that if I want to get my watercolors out, it's not going to cause me problems. And so I'm just going to, you see here, I've just folded, pinched along it so I can find where the middle is. And then I'm going to use my ruler to divide that up. Whoops, with a bit of a wobble, that's all right. And then we can go through and divide that up further. Whoop. Doesn't help if your fingers gets in the way. So I thought this was a nice fun way of giving us a framework to put our colours into. And as I said, if you want to leave some drawing space around the outside, that's fine. You can decide how big you want your sections for colour and your sections for drawing to be. So I'm going to do something a little bit like this, drawing the web in and just doing slightly curved lines, drawing that up. It can be a bit wobbly, wibbly wobbly web. Might make another little section around here, that's fine. So then I can come in, whoops, and see, I am not a very good spider. This web, I'm sure my little jumping spider friend is probably sitting on the windowsill and looking at this and go, what on earth are you doing? Even though jumping spiders don't actually make webs, I'm sure I am being judged from somewhere in the room. There we go. So I'm just going to do something like that. It doesn't matter too much what that web looks like, because this is just our framework for putting a bit of colour in. Okay, so I'm leaving space so I can come back and I can draw the spiders whose these colours belong to along the outside. That's my plan. We'll see how it works. So the idea is that you can now number your sections. So I'm going to have number 1 and come round this way. You can put the numbers wherever you want. It doesn't have to be in order. There's no rules. And if there are rules, how about breaking them? Let's have a bit of fun. Right, so we should have 8 sections. Nice and appropriate number. And you can see it on the screen. Can you find number 1? It's over. Oops. If I can point at my side thing, it doesn't really work. Sort of over on the left-hand side there, about in the middle. Number 1. That's what we're going to put in our first section. So you might, oh, that's the most boring set of colours on there. But doesn't mean the spider's boring. So we've got black, we've got white, and we've got various shades of beige and brown. So you can choose if you want to use coloured pencils, you want to use some watercolour or pens or whatever it is, whatever you've got, absolutely fine to bring those in. Actually, this looks like a pretty good colour. So I was just going to watercolour, but I think that is a rather nice match I've just happened to pick up. So I'm going to start it off with a little bit of light brown. It does go a little bit darker, so we could. Yeah, I think that's might be a little bit too dark, maybe. If I got a pencil that's a bit lighter. So I'm going to fill that next section in. The section after that I might leave white and then put black in the last one. And as we're putting in our lovely colours, if you want to try and make guesses as to which spiders you think they are, you can do. But otherwise it's just going to be a mystery until I let you know. And it's this nice sort of exercise for colour mixing. So just enjoy playing with colour for a minute. Okay, so number 2. I like this spider. So we have really, really bright sort of greenish yellow. So I'm going for lemon yellow. Actually, I'm going to put it, I like this colour, so I'm going to put it in this section. Just give it a little bit more. And it doesn't have to stay into your web sections. You can let it bleed out, which if you're using watercolour, it will do. So that's absolutely fine. We've then got a kind of gold color. I'm going to mix that with a little bit of medium yellow and a little bit of raw sienna. There we go, sort of bronze we're going for. Bronze color. Okay, and again, we have black and white. There's a bit of a theme going on here. Okay, now I think I need to clean up my bit of palette mixing space. Should have done that before, but never mind. I'll do that very quickly now. And then I can make some black. And I'm going to make black using my favourite mixture of burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. You want to remember how to make black. Burnt sienna, ultramarine blue gives you a nice black or grey colour. Bit grey. I put a little bit, squeezed my water brush a bit too hard. Never mind. Let's thicken that colour up a little bit. Right. Where are we going next? Number 3. Oh, look. There's more black. Going to mix this up. I'm going to put the black on the inside. Okay. And then we have white and bright, bright red. So I have permanent rose and transparent orange in this mini set. So in order to get a red quite that bright, I'm going to have to mix them together, otherwise I'll get something too pinky. Now, as you're going along, you can also be making up names for these colours if you want to. So what would you call this red? It could be something like poppy red. It could be danger red. I don't know. It's very, very red. There we go. And then number 4. So number 4 is up on the top left, and we've got quite a few different colours. So there's a lot going on with this spider. I'm going to put, I'm going to let the colours sort of run into each other a little bit more because there's so many variations. So I'm going to put a little bit of sort of mustard yellow, and then I'm going to go into orange. I'm going to put a little bit of water down on the page and then let some brown run into the orange so I get a little bit of a soft change from one colour to the other. And let's go a little bit darker. And finally finish off with some grey at the top. There we go. Multicoloured spider. Right, number 5. This is a fun one. We've got bright yellow. And then following that, you can have a sort of creamy white. Ooh, a bit too dark. So I'm going to put a little bit more of creamy colour on one side, leave a little bit of white over here. We've also got black. So I've put black on the top for 2 of these. Maybe I'll put some black in here. Whoop. Just playing with it. Learning it. Move a little bit on the paper. And then we've got sort of a yellowy beigey colour. Okay, now onto, oh, this is probably one of the most exciting ones. So, number 6, we have white, we have pink, we have a sort of darker, almost fuchsia-y pink, and we've got yellow. But I'll give you a hint. This spider could be even more different colours than this, but I ran out of space. So yeah, go crazy with colour. No, not too crazy. Let's put some lovely yellow up at the top. And then let's play with pink. There can be lots of different variations of pink to red. So if you are using watercolor or something where you can flow the colors into each other, you can play with, put in a little bit more variety if you want to. There we go, that's fun. And then I'm going to leave this one as the white. That's quite an important color for this spider as well. Right, last one, number 7. You say, well, we've got 8 sections. Well, I gave you an extra one because if you have a favorite spider and it's not included in this, that is your space for your one that you can add later on. So 7 is our last one for now. And look at these lovely greens. You can play with making some different kinds of green. I'm going to use lemon yellow and phthalo blue. And that's going to give me a slightly more yellowy leafy green, which I can then turn into a little bit more of the dull bluey green by putting in a bit of ultramarine blue. Maybe even a little bit more blue in that. There we go. Nice variations in there. And then we've got some It looks yellow on the spider, but this is my this is my dropper tool of catching colors, and down here it looks very murky yellow. So we'll go for a murky yellow. I will believe the dropper tool. Don't always. Right, so let's try and dirty that yellow up a little bit. And what does that look like? Make it a bit pale, a bit more water. That's about right. And then we have some brown, going from very light sandy brown, medium brown to grey. Can I do that in this web? There we go. Okay, so as I said, we've got section number 8. That's for you to do later on. You can add your own spider into the web of colours later on. So I'm going to put this to the side and let it dry, and then we will come back to it. And so I'm now going to have a look at some different types of webs. Because sometimes you don't see the spider, you see the web. And then it's a case of guess who made that. So I think it'd be useful to have a look at the different types of web that you might come across. So we have on the screen the names of the 7 sort of main types of web that you're going to find in the UK. There may be other types of web that spiders make where you are. So if you want to, you can keep adding to this. But we're also going to diagram some of these. So what I'm going to suggest is that you first of all write the names that I've got on the screen, and then leave a space so that you can draw a little diagram underneath to show what they look like. So I'm going to put orb up here, and I've chosen to work on some grey paper and use white just to be a bit different. And so we've got orb, we've got tangled, we have lace, and I'm going to put purse up here actually, because that will fit in nicely there. And then sheet, web, funnel, and radial. So we are just going to diagram. It doesn't have to be a pretty picture or hugely accurate or anything like that. There's no pressure. It's just a diagram. So if you want to also use words, that's absolutely fine. Now, it would be too easy for me to just show you a picture. So what I'm going to do is bring up a picture, and you've got to guess which of those words do you think this type of web is? Ooh. So we've got radial, funnel, sheet, purse, lace, tangled, or orb. If you want to put it in the chat, you can do. If you want to shout out loud, that's absolutely fine to do.
I would say Not tangled.
Not tangled. That's a
No.
good, yeah, yeah, not tangled is a good one. No, it's not tangled. Um, if it's no pressure on getting it right or wrong. This is all learning. This is all fun. So I'll let you know. This one is the orb web. So I think of this as sort of the standard, what you think a web would look like. So it has a frame that attaches to different things, leaves, twigs, washing lines, whatever it happens to be. And then we've got this spiral design in the middle and some lines radiating out from the center. So as I said, it's just a diagram. It's not hugely accurate drawing. That's not the point of this. It's just sort of thinking, okay, what is a simplified version of what I'm seeing? So that if I see something that looks a bit like that, I can go, ah, that is an orb web. And knowing it's an orb web, there is a group, a family of spiders called orb weavers. Ah, so an orb web would be made by an orb weaver spider. Okay, let's have a look at another one. So, if you want to guess, that's fine. If you want to just guess in your head, you don't have to shout out if you don't want to. That's fine.
Is that a sheet?
It is a sheet. Well done. Yeah. It does look a little bit like if you had a sort of a sheet held out on four corners and you've got that sort of droop in the middle. Um, and it acts a bit like it because there are fine little webs that support it hanging above, and the idea is the flies run into one of those webs above, and then they fall into the sheet and are caught. So it's a web to catch things that fall into it rather than going in sideways like the orb. So we can draw a little swoop like so, and it's going to have sort of corners going up. It might have a few points where the corners come upwards, and then there might be sort of more hanging points coming up from that. And this then, it looks very dense underneath. Now I don't know all of the types of spiders that make all of these webs, but one of them that makes a sheet web here in the UK is what we call a money spider, who are really tiny, really tiny spiders. So it's quite incredible that they can sometimes make sheet webs that are quite large. Yeah, so there we go. That is the sheet web. And then let's have a look at the next one. Ooh. What do you think this web is called?
Is that a funnel? Oh,
Yes! Two of you got it at the same time. Funnel, well done. So yes, once you start sort of looking at them, it does become a bit self-explanatory with the names. So we have, first of all, a little hole or a little retreat, it's called. And sometimes that can be quite a sort of tube that goes in quite a long way, and often it's in a little crevice. And then we have a large opening, a funnel that can be lots of different sort of shapes depending on the surroundings, but it tends to open outwards. And again, it's a very dense type of web. So I'm just going to do some hatching marks to fill that all in, to make it look nice and dense. And it will be attached again to whatever is surrounding on the outside. And then the little spider, or sometimes reasonably large spider, will be hiding away in the retreat, waiting for something to vibrate this outside part of the funnel. Okay, now let's have a look at the next one. Ooh, there we go, funnel. There we go. What type of web is this? Oh, we've
I,
got guess of lace.
I think it
Not
might
quite.
be tangles.
That, yeah. I think you've got it. It again, yeah, I can see why lace would be a guess. It is a bit lacy like, but this one is a tangled web. It is tangling up the end of this branch. So if you find a web, I'm actually going to draw in the branch because it's quite important for this web. And it doesn't have to be a branch, it can be in grass, it can be joining up different leaves, it can be sort of pretty much anywhere. And round light bulbs is a good one. So if you find a web that is a bit of a mess, or it looks a bit of a mess to us, then this is what the tangled web is like. It's a bit crazy. It is generally quite 3D looking, so it's not going to be flat, sort of 2D like the orb. It's going to be made in 3 dimensions, so some of these webs are going backwards, some of them are coming forwards, and it's just tangling up something. Then that is our tangled web. And I believe that the false widows, noble false widow spiders, make this kind of tangled web. There we go. Tangly tangle. Okay, let's have a look what's next. Oh, look. Might have seen these before. Can you remember what this was? Some of them are repeated.
That's an orb.
That is an orb again. Can you see something different in the orb that's on the black background?
Well, there seems to be a bit missing.
Yes! So I put this in for that purpose. There is a bit missing. It has a missing sector. And there is a group of spiders. I think they are called missing sector spiders. Basically, there is a sector without any of the spiral section of webbing. And they are very characteristic of that kind of spider. So, it's an orb with variation. Let's have a look at the next one. Oh, now this you probably haven't seen, I'm going to guess. And if you have, you're very lucky. What type of web do you think this one is? Can you see the web?
Is it the one that covers the trees and things?
No,
No,
this is the one on the ground.
no.
The web here is this tube shape that is covered in mud. So can you see just on top of the tube shape, there is a little bit of white. That's where the web is showing. And the web continues all the way through that tube to somewhere around just about sort of opposite here. This is the bottom, and it continues all the way up to that white bit up there. But it's all covered in mud and debris. So, what have we got left? We've got radial, we've got lace, and we've got purse. What do you think this one is?
Well, I'd say it was radial then, probably.
Not quite. Anyone in the chat? No. I'll give it to you. This is the purse. So in the UK, we only have one spider that makes this kind of web, and it is called the purse web spider. Self-explanatory, really. But yes, it's very clever. Because what it does is it makes sort of like a tunnel of purse shape web, and the outside gets covered in mud and debris. So it kind of digs its way in, and then the web sort of lifts out from the mud. And what you will see happening, I think this one's been dug up because generally I think there is a little bit underground still. So I'm going to put this bit underground. And this is all covered up as a disguise. And what happens is the spider lives in here. And something will come and fly down and land on the outside of it. And then the spider reaches through its purse web and grabs that prey item, pulls it inside, and then mends the hole so that there's no no sign that there's any spider was there. So it lives inside this little purse, which is rather a clever little adaptation. So that's the purse web spider. Okay, let's have a look at our next one. Oh yeah, this might be familiar. Have we seen this before?
This looks like lace, doesn't it?
Oh no, it's not the
Oh,
lace one.
it's not a lace one. Oh.
I put some doubles in just to
Oh, you're just that's naughty.
Ah, yes, it's another tangled one. Well done there. It's tangled. Um, this is an even bigger tangled web. So you can see how 3D this one has become using all of those different leaves. So it's quite fun. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, what do you think this one is? What does it look like? Lace! He's got it. Well done. Yeah, we've said it several times. This is finally the lace web. So the reason I can say that this one is the lace is, can you see how much thicker the web looks, but also with much wider holes between. So it is a little bit more like old-fashioned sort of vintage lace where we've got nice big holes or sort of pattern, I should say. And it's a little bit sort of clearer where the white bits of web are. It's not sort of as dense looking. But in terms of shape, quite often you will see it looking quite similar to the funnel. So there will be a little bit of a opening space going towards a retreat. As we get towards the retreat, the web might get a little bit sort of finer, but not too much. So this one, it's kind of looking like it's going back quite a long way, but this is maybe slightly unusual. It tends to have the same kind of shape, so that's what I'm going to diagram. Just with nice big gaps. Go. Okay, uh, one left.
It must be radial, yes.
It is. So why is this one a radial web? Um, have a look. What have we got? We've got again a retreat, a little hole. This time in a gap in between two blocks in a wall. And then after this we've got some long strands coming out. But unlike the orb, there is no spiral. It is a little bit denser, I have to say, in the middle. Look at the one underneath, the smaller one, and it's a little bit less dense around here. But again, we've just got a little bit something going into the retreat. But mostly, we just got single radial lines coming out. So radial lines for a radial web. Think of it as radiating out. So this web is a little bit different. Its purpose is not for catching prey. So it's not sticky. But these radial lines act as a tripwire. And so if something comes along and nudges one, it will send a vibration back up into the retreat where the spider is hiding, and the spider will know that there's something there. It can jump out and catch its prey. So that is the last of our different types of webs. Okay, so let's have a look at the next question. Asking you questions now. So what is a spider? We've been talking about them, but what is a spider? Do you know? Now, what I'm going to suggest, again, fun way of asking our question, is I'm going to put what is a spider in the middle of my page, and then I'm going to do a spiral. Oop, yeah, coming out. You can make it a bit more web-like than that if you want to. And then I'm going to have my radial lines coming out. Now we're going to do a bit of a spider diagram. See what I did there? So what you can do is at the end of each of these spiral lines, write your ideas of what a spider is. How would you describe a spider as opposed to any other living thing? So whatever ideas you come up with, write them down on each of these. I'll give you a few seconds to write your own ideas before I show you what I have on my spider diagram. Okay, have you had some thoughts? All right, let's have a look at what I've come up with. So, first of all, spiders, looking at how they sit on the web of life, they are not insects. So if you've written not insects, well done. They are arachnids. And I have put in the order, class, and phylum for you if you want to be a little bit more scientific. Then again, that's something you can have noted down. There are 136 families of spiders within that order of Arane, and there are more than 53,000. It keeps going up. I had to change that number several times because spiders keep being discovered. So yeah, that number is that's why I've got more than, because it does keep changing. So right. So you get the idea. You've got your ideas written around here. So I'm not going to write everything I've written on the slides, but I will put arachnid up there. And so next one, spiders have existed for at least 380 million years. So they are pretty ancient creatures. They have spinnerets that extrude or make silk. So all spiders can make silk. They are carnivorous. Um, if you want to put also, if you put insect, eat insects or anything like that, that is also insectivores. But not all of them eat only insects. So we want to put their carnivores. Well, they say that there are some spiders that will also eat pollen, nectar, that kind of stuff as a supplement. Okay, they have two body parts, which we will look at when we examine the anatomy of a spider. Who put 8 limbs, 8 legs? Yay! I expect everyone put 8 legs. They also have pedipalps, which if you look at tarantulas, sometimes it can get confusing because it looks like they've got 10 legs. But it's just the pedipalps are a lot bigger on a tarantula. So they can appear to be legs, but they're not. And they don't have antenna. So that's one of the differences between them and insects. And then we have exoskeleton. Spiders don't have bones. And they molt their skin or their exoskeleton, they molt to grow. So they molt their skin, same way sort of think about snakes and sort of molting as they get larger.
Crabs.
Crabs. Oh yeah, yeah, crabs. Exactly. Crabs are closely related to spiders. Muscles are attached to the exoskeleton, but they also use hydraulic pressure to extend their limbs, not muscles. And they are air breathing. Now, we do get some spiders that live underwater, but they do breathe air still. And they don't have lungs like we do. They have what are called book lungs. And some of them also have a tracheal spiracle. Fancy words. But basically, they don't have the same kind of lungs and breathing mechanism that we do. And who wrote 8 eyes? Yes. Now I was going to put 8 eyes, and then I did a bit more research, and now it's 0 to 8 eyes. Oh, just yeah, yes. It's a little bit like that. The deeper you dive into something, the less you think you actually know. So, um, 8 eyes is the most common um, number of eyes that a spider can have, but some spiders have no eyes because they live in caves. Some spiders have 2 eyes, some have 6 eyes. The majority have 8 eyes. So I have got 0 to 8 eyes now. um, they have something called chelaceae, which have fangs on, and they are able to inject venom into their prey. So when we talk about venomous spiders, most spiders are venomous, and possibly all spiders are slightly venomous. I'll have to do more research. But quite often that is not a concern to us. It's just a concern if you're a little fly. So, um,
Or if you live in a very hot country.
yes. So I said most. So, if we are looking at all of those 53,000 odd spiders in the world, and we're not looking at thousands of ones that are concerningly venomous. Right. And they all lay eggs. Generally, those eggs are protected by being wrapped in a silk-lined egg sac. Okay, so now we've explored what a spider is. Are you ready to meet a spider? So, oh look, it's my little friend. So this is the spider that lives on my windowsill. It's tiny, just 4 millimeters long. Let's have a closer look. I like that animation. Small things. There we go. So this is my spider. I call him Jumpy because he is a jumping spider. So let's have a nice close look. It might seem, oh, it's just a small little thing. It's a bit boring to start off with, but when you look closely, you start to notice the patterns and the colours that are going on, and also the texture. What does that texture look like to you? It's quite fluffy.
Joints.
Yeah, to me this it looks quite cuddly. It looks like a fleecy blanket,
Mm.
which is quite fun because this is the house jumping spider, also known as the fleecy jumper. Which I just think is so amusing because it does look like it's wearing a fleecy jumper. So if you have a spider living around you, that you could get to know them, have a closer look, observe what do they do, what do they get up to, what do they look like when you get close. Use a magnifying glass or a macro lens on a camera and see if you can sort of really look at your spider and say hello. And if it is a jumping spider, sometimes when you say hello to it, they look back at you and give you quite a quizzical look. And it's quite amusing. So, one thing that I've done here is I've turned my little spider friend into a little cartoon. And that is a good way, especially if you come across something that at the maybe at the start you're a little bit, oh, I don't know about this. I'm a bit scared. They're probably more scared of you. So one way to get to know your spider is to make them a bit friendlier and have, like I've got here, a little waving spider saying hello. So we can see, and I found this image in the middle here. This is actually a baby spider. This is a juvenile fleecy jumper, and you can see how tiny it looks. And the eyes are huge on its head. I just thought it looked very cute. But there we go. So I often find that the closer you look at something, the more fascinating it gets, and the friendlier it starts to look. If you can look at it in its eyes,
It
then
looks like it's wearing a hat of blackberries.
oh yes. Very funny. Okay, so what we're going to do is our fleecy jumper is going to introduce us to spider anatomy. So there we go. That is that page. Maybe you can see it clearer on the screen to my page side by side. But I can point on this one. So here we have our introduction, and now we have a spider covering up its eyes because I decided that I wasn't going to draw all the legs, and Jumpy got a bit scared. Don't worry, Jumpy, it's a diagram. Right, so spider anatomy. The first thing is that we have two segments to the body. So we have the abdomen, and then we have this, which is the cephalothorax. Cephalothorax. You need your teeth in to say that. Um, so this is where we've got the thorax and the head combined. They are not separate, which is where you'll see the main difference between a spider and other types of insect. So insects will have three body parts with the head separate. Right, so let's have a look at the legs. And that's probably the most interesting part. So we have, as you know, 8 legs. But one thing that is a little bit interesting is that the lengths of the legs are different. Did you know that? Okay, so the longest leg is number 1. So if you look at where the head is, if you go from there, number 1, that's the longest leg. The next one along number 2, number 3, and number 4. And it's a funny little order here as to which ones are long and short. So number 1 is longest. The second longest is number 4. And then it goes to number 2, and the shortest leg is number 3. So the order in length is 1, 4, 2, 3. Okay, let's have a look at our spider from underneath, because that shows up a few more body parts more easily. So sticking with the legs, there are lots of segments that involve making up the whole of the leg. So we're going to start off at the very top. We have the coxa. So that's the part that joins in to the body. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, the coxa. I thought I'd get it wrong way around. No, that's right. Is right. The coxa is first, and then we have the trochanter, which is another little segment. This is a joint in here. We then have the femur, which is longer. After that, we have the patella. So that is kneecap equivalent. So a little short segment, and that one is quite often not very visible when you're looking at actual spiders. A little bit tricky to work out. But again, that is a joint, movable, up and down. We then have the tibia, and underneath that there are two segments, the metatarsus and the tarsus. Now, the tarsus you can also think of as spider paws. Did you know spiders have paws? They've got little tiny paws. So here we are, spider paws. If you want to Google later on spider paws, oh, you're in for a treat. um, Especially have a look at tarantula paws because they're a little bit bigger. You can see them better. Right. So we have generally two, sometimes three little claws, and sometimes they are a bit comb like, and they are on the end of the leg. Underneath we have some little dense hairs that are called claw tufts. It looks a little bit like the pad on the bottom of a sort of a dog paw or cat paw kind of thing, but more hairy. um, and then we have a very fluffy leg. There are thick, dense hairs on the back that help with gripping, so help with adhesion to surfaces. And then there are bristles on the front part of the leg. And then there are those very, very long hairs that you probably be able to see. And they are the trichobothria. And they are the very, very special hairs for feeling vibrations and also static in the air. So very clever hairs out the front. But yes, sometimes if you look closely, little spider paws will look very, very cute, I think. So there we go. Right, let's have a look now. More body parts. So we'll start at the front. We have these little mini limbs sticking out. These are the pedipalps. So, as I said, sometimes if you look at a tarantula, because they are quite long on tarantulas, they do look like an extra pair of legs, but they are not. They are for sensing and feeling, and also they have a reproductive purpose on the male spiders as well. We then have the Chalicia, I think that's how you say it, which basically have the fangs on the front. So this is the mouth parts. Underneath that is the maxilla and the labium. So this is all of the mouth parts of spiders. And yes, spiders do have teeth, but they are very, very small, so you probably can't see them. And they will be on the edge of the maxilla, sometimes on the edge of the chalicia as well. Right, then we are going to have a look at the abdomen. So connecting the thorax or the cephalothorax and the abdomen is sort of a small cylinder kind of shape that is the pedicel. Again, it's probably not that visible on most spiders. And oh yeah, I've missed out the sternum. This little shield shape in the middle, this is the sternum in between the legs. There we go. Now, underneath our spider, we have, I've mentioned them already, book lungs. And these are positioned only here and here. There's two little slits, two little openings to the lungs, and then the lungs will be sitting where I put a little dotted line underneath. And these, they're called book lungs because if you looked at one under a microscope, it looks a bit like the folded pages in a book. So it's very similar. Think about gills on a fish, and you get the kind of idea um, of what's going on with these. But then some spiders have a tracheal spiracles, which is another breathing mechanism, which is generally positioned lower down here. So some spiders will have just the book lung, some will have a tracheal breathing opening as well. Female spiders, you also see another little opening in the middle here. This is the epignum. That's fancy words here. But basically, that is the reproductive organ on the females. And then we have the spinnerets. Now, I've only drawn 4, but this again can vary. So it can be 2, 4, 6, or 8. And it would depend on which species of spider you're looking at as to how many spinnerets there are. Okay, and those are where the silk is spun out of, and there will be glands coming up inside the spider to produce lots of different types of silk, not just one, but lots of types of different silk, which was another thing. As I was doing my research for this, I thought, oh, different types of silk. I got a little bit carried away. I had to diagram that. And then I thought, oh, Spider-Man. Shouldn't say that. So I've got a little Spider-Man hand and shouting taser webs. Because I thought, there's so many different types, let's have taser webs as well in there. But no, I was getting carried away. Calm down. So let's have a look now at where we're going. Okay, so we are going next to actually drawing some of our spiders. So if you have your coloured web, you can bring that back. And for the last part of today, what we're going to do is to draw in our spiders that we've already painted the colours of. Are you ready? Let's have a look at... Oh, I had more slides that I hadn't written down in my notes. Okay, there's a closer version. So if you want to print these later on, you can choose whether you want to print that one or sort of closer up on the diagram there. And I also included a little bit or more on the eyes, because what I didn't mention is that the positioning of the eyes is also different depending on what kind of spider you're looking at. So this is a species of jumping spider, and you can see we've got rather large eyes at the front. Then we've got medium eyes, and then can you just see behind that there's 2 teeny weeny ones, and then behind that 2 slightly larger ones that are higher up. And jumping spiders have the best vision of the spiders. And they can see almost sort of 360 degrees around them because of the positioning of their eyes. But different spiders have different eye arrangements. So that is something that will help you tell apart different families and species of spiders, where the eyes are. But I thought that was a good clear view of the eyes, especially those little tiny ones, which quite often don't show up very well. So let's have a look. What's our first number 1? What was our first spider? This is the zebra jumping spider. And can you see the colors? So we've got the black and white, and then we've got little bits of brown and sort of beigey color as well. So let's have a little go at drawing our zebra jumping spider in here. So again, when I did my cuts, I left a little bit of space, but if you didn't leave space, that's fine. You can draw your spider on another page. Just number it so that you can line it up again with number 1. So I'm going to do the abdomen and the cephalothorax joining into the head. Jumping spiders tend to have quite a flat sort of top to their head. So I'm going to put the line across here. I'm going to put the eyes. So we've got the 2 main eyes at the front, and then slightly smaller ones side of that. And then again, we can't see the tiny ones very well. No tiny ones here, and then the 2 larger ones again, a bit further back, a bit higher up as well. And we have, can you see the pedipalps at the front? And so the pedipalps, again, they are segmented. So they have the same number of segments as the legs. But if you don't want to draw all of them, you can simplify it to just go, oh, it's something like that. That's okay. Okay, let's have a look at the position of the legs. So I'm just going to come around like so. Let's put this spider onto that bit of web. As I said, jumping spiders don't generally make webs. They hunt through, well, generally through jumping, running and jumping. So they are very active hunters rather than sitting in a web and waiting for things to come to them. Which, again, it makes them quite interesting to watch.
It looks like it's got eyes on the 2 front legs.
I don't think he's got eyes on his
I
legs.
know, but it does look. So on the 2 on the my left. So at the top, they look round.
They look round. That's interesting. They do have the stripes on the legs. But yeah, it's interesting. It's one of those things where you look at the pattern and then you start to think, oh, what's going on there? It's maybe a little bit of a camouflage effect. So I'm not, as you can see, drawing every single segment of legs that we looked at in the anatomy, but I'm just simplifying to the basic shapes. And if I want to go back and add more detail into those, I could do. So I've got cephalothorax, abdomen shape, and then I have my basic leg shapes. And if you want to try and work out where each little segment is, you can start to do that. If you instead just want to look at where the patterns are that look like eyes, then you can put in some stripes, because this is our zebra spider. It should look a little bit stripy like a zebra. And again, if you wanted to bring some of your colors into it, that's fine. But as we've got all the colors in the web, I think I'm just going to stick to drawing with black and white for these. But as you can add to it. You can do your own thing. There's no rules on what you do. So you can always come back to it and add colour as well if you run out of time. So when I'm adding the patterns, it's quite helpful to find the central line through the abdomen, through the cephalothorax, so that I can get things lined up on either side. So these little white dots, make sure that those are positioned either side of a central line. And because we were at 3/4 view, they are not going to be sort of quite the same. We're seeing more on this side of our spider than we are on this side. Oops, dated in a bit too much there. We need a little bit of a white, I'm going to call it a monobrow, and I'll probably get in trouble. Didn't mean that, little spider. But yes, we've got a little white marking just above the eyes. Oh, does look like he's got little eyebrows there. So, as you draw spider, have a little think about the details that you can see and what you find interesting. Are you noticing anything about the spider? Are you wondering? Do you have any questions about this particular spider? And if you have any thoughts, you can write them by the side. I also included some information about our zebra spiders. So we've got sizes, because I thought that would be helpful, habitat, and other little bits of information. So we have our zebra spider is I should put zebra jumping spider. And it is going to be between, well, females are bigger than the males. So I'm going to put it between 5 and 9 millimeters for both of them. It's quite a small spider. And they are found in lots of different habitats, but generally open vertical habitats. So you're going to be finding them on walls, on garden fences, as well as sort of rock faces and other areas like that. So a little bit more of an outdoorsy spider than our fleecy jumper. But you might find them around urban habitats as well. And again, jumping spiders hunt without a web, and they can take prey up to 3 times the length of themselves. So they're quite successful little hunters. Let's have a look now at our next spider. So number 2 was a sun jumping spider. So these are 2 of the jumping spider species in the UK. And actually, I've included 2 species on one slide here because I struggle to tell the difference. So I think that the pictures are showing a copper sun jumping spider, but it could be a common sun jumping spider. It's one or the other, I think. So there are variations that to the untrained eye look quite similar. Right. So the copper sun jumping spider, we are looking at a length between 3.6 for the males and 5.8 for the females at the extremes. And that's millimeters again. So really tiny spiders. I tried to take a video of one of these, but I decided it wasn't really good enough. So, but yeah, they are quite fun little spiders to watch as well. Now, I don't know whether you can see, I've got the little tiny side view, which kind of shows the head and cephalothorax area is quite large in comparison to the abdomen on these spiders. And so when they sort of turn their head and sort of look at you and sort of look round, it makes it a little bit easier to see what they're looking at. Again, I find that quite characterful. So if you want to draw a side view or change anything from what we're seeing in the pictures, then again you can have a little go at doing that. I might just stick. I was going to, but I think I'll just stick to drawing the big picture. So what I'm going to do is just think of simple shapes to start off with. So I've got two little wonky shapes for our cephalothorax and our abdomen. I am going to then put a central line that's going to come up from the middle and then go along the back slightly closer to the further side, and then I'm going to draw a similar little curved central line down the front there. That's just going to help me to place some eyes equally on the front. Can you see the eyes that are facing upwards? Just about here. And then if you go forward from them, you can very just about see a little dot. There's another, that's a little teeny eye. And then we've got the other set of eyes just there. Now what I love on these spiders is the bright, almost fluorescent when it's caught by the sunlight, pedipalps. Bright fluorescent yellow. So that is this yellow that we placed in here. A really lemony, slightly greeny, acidic yellow. The other yellow we had as the yellow in the legs. Sometimes the legs maybe a little bit warmer colored than that. Sometimes, like in this image, they are quite dark. So there is a bit of variation in leg color. And again, that is possibly one of the differences between the two different species that I've that I'm in and are-ing between, but also I think it's to do with males and females and just variations as well. So it's not that helpful. The more I was looking into it, the more confused I got. So I just decided, okay, it's one of these. It's one of these. I don't know. iNaturalist has not come up with a definite answer for me either, which I was hoping somebody on there would be able to tell me. It's a lovely tool, iNaturalist, if you haven't used for identifying species. because it uses both sort of AI and actual people. If you can get an expert on that to identify something, then and it agrees, and everyone agrees, then that's a good indication. But you've got to hope that the who you want finds your picture. Okay, right, as I've been waffling on, I've been putting in those legs. So again, I'm just sort of simplifying the shape. As I'm doing that, what I'm trying to do is also look at the negative shape between the legs. And again, if I was spending even more time on this, I would be paying closer and closer attention to the negative shapes as well as the actual shape of the leg. But I don't want to spend too long on each spider. I just want a quick sketch. So I'm just going to put in this white stripe that's along the front of the abdomen. And then again, there is a variation in stripes and dots in white that appear further back as well. So I'm going to just put two little white bits because that's what my spider had. So it had two little dots there. So I better put a little indication on the other side, but they are going round the corner a bit more. Right. So there is our sun jumping spider. And they do like sunny habitats, so I assume that's where they get their name from. So let's move on to number 3. Ooh, now that's a colourful one, isn't it? So this is the ladybird spider. You can see why it's called that. We have very, very bright red, sometimes orangey red colour and black dots. Now, only the males look like this. The females are all black. Oh. But so this is, you can make the distinction that we are drawing a male ladybird spider if you want to. The males are much smaller though, so they are 6 to 9 millimeters, and the females are 10 to 16 millimeters, so quite a size difference between them. And the other thing about our ladybird spider is that going back a few years, it was thought to be extinct in the UK, but then a small population was found, and after quite a lot of intervention, conservation intervention, there are now 19 populations around Dorset, with an estimate of somewhere around 1,000 individuals. So they were part of the Back from the Brink project. So our little colourful endangered spiders. And these are a type of velvet spider. So they are in a different family. So the first two here are jumping spiders. This is a velvet spider. If you have a look, can you see its eyes? Is very difficult. Not just because it's black, but also because the eyes are quite small. So I bring this back for a moment. On a velvet spider, we have this arrangement of eyes. So we have 4 in the middle, one above the other. So 2 sets there. We then have a set over here and a set over here, and then a set on top here and here. But they are all much smaller than anything like our jumping spiders, which is this arrangement. Okay, and this view may be a little bit tricky with the legs because we're looking at the spider from above and we can't see where the legs are going underneath all of that litter. But also count how many apparent legs I've drawn. I think there's some pedipalps in there. Is anyone else getting confused? I hope not. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and a pedipalp. So this one is not a leg. So this is what happens when you start drawing sometimes tarantulas, because the pedipalps, they do look so much like legs. It gets a little bit a little bit confusing. Here we go. And then we have the dots on the back. And there is, between individuals, a little bit of variation in how much those dots show up. And again, the red is just on the top. So as you start to look under here, this is black. And there are a few white stripes, almost triangle there, on the legs as well. Okay, so that is our ladybird spider, and it lives on heathland, and they like to build vertical, to get my words out, vertical silk-lined burrows with a silk canopy for ambushing their insects. So a little bit more of an unusual spider. Let's have a look at number 4. Hey! Now, if you are in the UK, you probably recognise this one. It's probably one of our most common spiders. This is the European garden spider or cross orb weaver, because it has a little light coloured cross on its back. So this again is a different species of spider. This is an orb weaver, and so this is the kind of spider that's making this orb shaped web. And what you're going to notice here is the abdomen, especially on the females, which is what this one is quite large and round, rounded shaped. And then we have the cephalothorax, and the head looks kind of heart-shaped. It can be difficult to work out where the head is sometimes, because if you're looking for eyes, they're very small. So again, if I bring back my eye diagrams, this is the eyes on our garden spider orb weaver spiders, and I've actually drawn the head upside down because I thought that was more helpful. These they always hang upside down. So we've got the 4 in the middle, so 2 rows, and then 2 either side. So on the bottom row, if you carry along, you've got 2 over here and 2 over here. So basically you've got a long row right on the bottom edge, and then 2 eyes that are just slightly higher up, which means that when they are hanging upside down, all the eyes are pretty much under here. So this is why it's a little bit tricky to work out where the eyes are, but we'd maybe just do a few little dots there. Now pedipalps are quite skinny looking, and again they are angled backwards in this photograph, so we're just seeing 2 little shapes in there. And then what you probably look at when you're looking at the orb weaver is how long those legs are. They go on and on and on forever. So if they go off the edge of your page, don't worry about it. It just means that the legs are so long you couldn't fit them all on. I remember the first set of legs nearest the head are the longest ones. The furthest away set of legs are the next longest. And the way that they're positioned, it kind of looks like they are from this top view coming from the abdomen, but remember they are coming all the way up to here. This is where they join in, so on the underside about there. So it's just because the legs are underneath that they appear to be coming out from the abdomen. Okay, so then this second set of legs are going to be mirroring the position of the first 2, and they are just a little bit shorter. And then the third pair are the shortest pair of legs, and I'm just going to put them in here. Sometimes they will be mirroring the back pair a little bit more, but I quite like this position where we can see them a bit more clearly. There we go. And again, our cross orb weaver, we better do the little cross pattern. So it tends to be sort of like a dot in the middle, and then you have more of a line top and bottom, and then a sort of line stripe either side that makes up the little cross shape. And going back from there, you quite often have dots of white that do a nice fancy pattern. Have a look at how many little tiny white dots there are. There's a lot going on. So we probably won't draw all of that, but just get an idea of it. And then have a look at this sort of funny stripy pattern where it changes from dark, and then we've got more of a light brown on the other side. So let's see if we can give a little indication. Again, it doesn't have to be a pretty picture, it doesn't have to be hugely detailed, but just to give an idea of what is going on with this particular type of spider, so we can ID it. So a bit darker here and here and here, almost like stripes. And again, you can use words, you can write by the side to describe what you're seeing. You don't have to always try to draw it. So here. And what is quite interesting with this is also, this one is quite sort of brown and yellow. Sometimes they are very bright orange. So if you're wondering why we've got this bright orange in here, this is often the colour of slightly younger cross orb weavers. They can be extremely bright orange, which is very fun. Okay, so we have 3 more left to do and we're running out of time. So I'm going to move on to our next spider. So this is one of our most stunning, colourful spiders. This is the wasp spider. Now the name wasp spider is basically on appearance. It looks a bit stripy and yellow and black like a wasp, but it's not dangerous. The spiders cannot sting, so it's just on appearance. So don't let the scary name, try to scare you. So this is another type of orb weaver. So again, same kind of shape, nice big round abdomen shape. Kind of make this one a little sort of egg shaped maybe. The cephalophorus, if you start this with kind of a circle and then do the little heart shape to extend the head out a little bit from that, and then we just do that outline, you get something that resembles the head. You can just about see 2 eyes. Those are the top of the 4 in the middle. You can just about see in that one. And you can just about see the chalaciae that have the fangs. And then either side of that are the pedipalps. And then we've got all those lovely legs again. Who's getting tired of drawing legs? No? Oh, good. Well done. Okay, so I was going to say, if you are getting tired of drawing legs, you don't have to draw all of them, or you can start to simplify by just doing stick legs rather than fleshing them out.
So the third leg is the smallest on this one?
Yes, that's right. Third leg is the smallest on all of them. Should be. So on our European garden spider, we've got these two, the front, the back one, all longer than the ones in the middle, the third leg. And again, sometimes the way they position themselves, they will have these two legs together and these two legs together. So it kind of looks like they have four legs. And they're sort of in a cross shape like this as they're hanging. But this one's got its legs a little bit spread out so we can see them a bit easier. So you can notice the difference even more. Okay, and then we have this lovely pattern of yellow and black and white and sometimes slightly creamy colors along the abdomen, making it look a little bit like a wasp. So this might be a case of mimicry and anything sort of coming around that thinks, oh, that spider might be nice to eat. It goes, oh, actually it's a wasp. No, I'm not going to eat that. But it's just pretending. So it might be a little bit of a defense. I'm going to pretend to be a wasp so I don't get eaten. So these spiders are actually reasonably large. I forgot to put the size of the garden spider, but again, you can go back to that so you will have access to the slides and the recording. So if you want to go back and add more details, you can do. But again, this is quite a large spider. And I say generally the females of the spiders are going to be much larger than the males. And again, this is one that has a huge difference in size. So the females are between 11 and 17 millimeters. And the males are tiny, 4 to maybe 4.5 oops, millimeters. That's an interesting thing that sometimes you don't even know that the males are the same species because they're so much tinier. They also sometimes have different colors, so they just don't look the same. Okay, so and this wasp spider was only recorded in the UK for the first time in 1922, so it's a recent addition. So it's one that's come over from Europe and has started to make its home here. I've seen a wasp spider twice. So, and both of them were in sort of the south. So I think it's slowly making its way northwards, but still more likely if you're looking for one to see it in the south, maybe southeast. Right. Let's have a look at our next one. This is a lovely colourful spider. This is our heather crab spider. And I've got two examples of a coloration. But this is a very special spider because it can change its colour. So Sometimes when you find one, it will be pure white. Sometimes it will be completely pink or red. Sometimes it will just be completely yellow. And sometimes it will be a variation of any of those colours with stripes and patterns all along it. And it can change its colour depending on what type of flower it is going to be sitting on. So the process of colour changing can take several days. Um, how it knows what flower it's going to be sitting on several days' time, I don't know. But it's very, very clever that it can use this mimicry. And it's thought that it allows it to both evade predators and sort of stay safe, but also let it hunt more successfully. So things can't see it when it is sitting on a flower that is the same colour. And so I had to find pictures where it wasn't sitting on something the same colour and we can see it a bit easier. Right. And I've got a funny story about one of these. Or at least I think it was one. It probably wasn't a heather crab spider, but it was a crab spider. And it was a white one. And guess where it was hiding? On the toilet roll. I go to get a piece off and the spider jumps off and like, oh, where were you? That's not a flower. That is not a flower. What are you doing there? Yes, I was a little bit shocked. I did not expect a spider to be hiding on the loo roll, but there we go. Um, so that just shows you how good their camouflage can be. I did take it outside and put it on some daisies. Yeah, you can, yeah, that's where you should be, not inside. You're not going to find anything flying about to hunt in here. Only me. Um, okay, so have a look at these legs. They are also very interesting on our crab spiders. You can see why they are called crab spiders. They do slightly resemble a crab. And also if you get to see one moving about, they do this funny little sideways walk sometimes, which does look quite crab-like. So a nice, interesting little spider. That's very clever. They tend to sit in the middle of the flower. They like sort of disc flowers like daisies. They can sit in the center of and wait for something to come down and then nab it very quickly. And also, I like the shape of the abdomen. It's a little bit angular. There's a lot of legs going all over the place. How are you doing with those legs? Good. Um, okay, so we have one more spider after this. So maybe just do a quick little indication of some of the patterning if you want to. And make a note that this can look very different, not just between different spiders, but also the same spider can look very different depending on how it changes its colors. I did hear someone sort of describe the way that crab spiders look as being sort of the angriest looking spiders. Do you think they're angry looking? A bit grumpy. Grumpy spider. Uh-oh. Okay, let's have a look at the last one very quickly. This is the green crab spider. So another crab spider, but lovely green color, plus some yellow and brown. And this is a spider species that you are going to find in woodland. They like to hang around on trees, bushes, especially evergreens. And again, there is difference between the size of the females and the males. And they like to lay their eggs on a bent leaf for a little bit of protection. And also the female, this particular spider, will stay and guard those eggs. And that's another little thing that I think is going to be quite sort of interesting to look into, is looking at different types of spider eggs, and also sort of the behavior of different mother spiders. So wolf spiders will carry their eggs, the egg sacs, around with them on their abdomens or underneath their abdomens sometimes. And other spiders will guard their eggs, and some of them will just sort of leave them. Yeah, there you go. On your own now. So it's quite an interesting sort of different behavior. And also the sort of the egg sacs themselves can be very interesting. I found the eggs of a Sputnik spider, and they are so weird. They're spiky. Again, they're tiny, but if you look up close, you just get this sort of spiky white shape with sort of very angular design on it. It's very interesting. I think, has this spider lost a leg? I'm trying to draw the one that's hanging by a thread of silk, and where's the other leg gone? Oh dear, I didn't notice that until now. So, oh, that's a fun photo. There you go. You don't notice things until you start drawing sometimes. I'm going to put another leg in. There you go. Right. So we have run out of time for any more spider antics, but there we go. We've got our 1 to 7 of spiders of different colours. So I hope you enjoyed doing that. I did have a little question at the end about what we can learn from watching spiders. And there's a lot to learn from watching spiders. They are fascinating little things. And probably one of the things that comes up most of all, if you look into folklore and just sort of watching what spiders get up to, is perseverance, which is a good little message for us. So trying, and if you fail, try again. Which is always good for nature journaling and art, and life in general is a good little rule to follow. Just try again. If your web gets destroyed, build it again. Okay, so I hope that you've enjoyed looking at spiders and are inspired to go out and find your own little spider friends and explore a few different species of spiders where you live. And I have a few useful links. I say a few. It kept growing. The list kept growing this time because I kept looking at all sorts of different resources. So I will email those out to you as well if you are with the recording. So there we go. Hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you for watching and drawing along with me. If you want to stay and share anything from what you've done in the session or your thoughts, then you can do that just a moment, and all of the links are on the screen for you to join future workshops or look at recorded workshops that have gone by already. So I'm going to say goodbye for the recording and pause here. Okay, so I'm glad that you have enjoyed drawing along with me. We had some lovely questions about further things that we could explore, like how do spiders molt their skin and how do the colors change? Do they change shape when they molt at all? As well as getting bigger, and a little bit about how spiders fly, known as ballooning. So there's lots more to explore with this subject. And of course, remember, you've got one more section on our colourful spider web to put in your own spider species in here. So go out, have a look, make friends with a spider, and I hope that you will join me for another nature journaling session soon. So next month we'll be doing a different subject. Look out for that. Bye bye.